We all encounter people whose behavior seems cold, indifferent, or even hostile toward us. But when these feelings aren't expressed openly, they can manifest in subtle ways. How can we, as students of Stoicism, understand these signs and remain unshaken? This is where the Stoic mindset comes in, teaching us that the behavior of others is beyond our control, and it is our reaction that matters most. Let's begin with body language, a key indicator that someone may dislike you, but is hiding it. Stoicism teaches us that we must observe without judgment, understanding that actions speak louder than words. Closed-off body language, such as crossed arms, leaning away, or a lack of eye contact, is often a subtle sign of discomfort or aversion. It's easy to take these behaviors personally, but according to Stoicism, external signs are just that, external. The great Stoic philosopher Epictetus reminds us that it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. When you notice someone avoids your gaze or seems stiff and distant, it's essential not to immediately assume this is a reflection of your worth. Stoics believe that indifference or discomfort in others is a manifestation of their own internal state. Perhaps they're dealing with their own insecurities or struggles. This leads us to one of the fundamental principles of Stoicism. We must detach ourselves from the actions of others. You are not responsible for their discomfort or dislike. Another sign of hidden dislike can be found in social interactions. You may notice someone interrupts you frequently or dismisses your contributions in a conversation. They may smile and nod, but they subtly cut you off or show impatience. According to Stoic teachings, we should not let this disturb our inner peace. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most famous Stoics, wrote that people act based on their nature. If someone behaves rudely or interrupts, it is a reflection of their character, not yours. If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. By observing without becoming emotionally attached, you can recognize these behaviors for what they are, signs of discomfort, insecurity, or even hidden dislike. But Stoicism teaches us not to let these external signs disturb our internal equilibrium. If someone leans away, avoids eye contact, or cuts you off, remind yourself of the Stoic principle of control. You cannot control their actions, but you can control your response. In this way, Stoicism helps us navigate subtle signs of dislike with wisdom and emotional fortitude. Rather than reacting with frustration or hurt, we take a step back and see things as they are, external events that have no real power over our peace of mind. Seneca, another great Stoic philosopher, once said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." By acknowledging these signs without attaching unnecessary meaning to them, we free ourselves from emotional turmoil. Finally, remember that we are all subject to subjective interpretations. Just because someone displays closed-off body language or cuts you off in conversation doesn't necessarily mean they dislike you. They may be distracted, tired, or dealing with their own struggles. Stoicism teaches us not to assume, but rather to focus on what we know, our own thoughts and actions. When we practice this, we rise above the petty judgments and misunderstandings of everyday life. As you move through your day, you may encounter people who seem to subtly push you away. But if you adopt the Stoic mindset, you'll realize that their behavior is not a reflection of your worth. It's a reflection of their own state of mind. You have the power to stay calm, composed, and confident in the face of their actions. As Epictetus so wisely taught, we cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them. The next time you notice someone's body language or behavior indicating dislike, remember to maintain your inner calm. You are not defined by the opinions or actions of others. With this mindset, you can navigate the subtleties of social dynamics with the wisdom of a Stoic. Passive-aggressive behavior is one of the most confusing ways people express hidden dislike. It often comes cloaked in politeness or even friendliness, but underneath there's a layer of resentment or hostility. From a Stoic perspective, passive aggression is another external factor that should not disturb your inner peace. Let's explore how Stoic philosophy can help us navigate these tricky situations with calmness and wisdom. What is passive-aggressive behavior? It's when someone expresses negative feelings indirectly rather than openly. They may offer a backhanded compliment, make sarcastic remarks, or appear overly nice in a way that feels fake. The Stoics understood that human interactions are complex and not always honest. Marcus Aurelius advised that when dealing with others, we should expect them to behave according to their nature. If someone is passive-aggressive, they are revealing something about their inner turmoil, not necessarily about you. A common form of passive aggression is sarcasm. For example, a person might say something that sounds like a compliment, but the tone or context makes it clear that it's meant to undermine you. This can be frustrating, especially if you sense the hidden hostility behind their words. But as a Stoic, your goal is to remain unshaken by such behavior. Seneca wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." In this case, those who use sarcasm often crave control or power over you, but you are not obligated to give it to them. When someone makes passive-aggressive comments, it's easy to feel attacked or want to defend yourself. However, Epictetus reminds us that the key to Stoic living is focusing only on what is within our control. You cannot control how others speak to you, but you can control your reaction. By choosing not to engage with the negativity, you show strength. You are not reacting out of anger or frustration, but rather maintaining your inner tranquility. Epictetus taught that we should keep calm and remind yourself that this is something out of your control. Another sign of passive-aggressive behavior is when someone is overly nice in a way that feels insincere. They may go out of their way to compliment you or act as though they are your biggest supporter, but deep down, their behavior seems forced. Seneca believed that wisdom lies in seeing things clearly and not being deceived by appearances. Stoics value authenticity, and when someone is being overly nice in a disingenuous way, it's essential to see it for what it is, an attempt to hide their true feelings. Recognize the behavior, but don't let it affect your peace of mind. Stoicism teaches us that the behavior of others is not a reflection of us, but of themselves. Someone's need to be passive-aggressive often stems from their own insecurities, jealousy, or dissatisfaction with life. Marcus Aurelius emphasized compassion for others, even those who seem to wish us harm. He said, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love. Even when others treat us poorly, we can choose to rise above their behavior by remembering that their actions come from their own suffering." So, what is the Stoic response to passive aggression? The first step is awareness. Recognize the signs, sarcasm, backhanded compliments, or excessive niceness, and understand that these are not genuine expressions of kindness or criticism. They are subtle ways of showing dislike, often driven by hidden frustration. But as a Stoic, you don't have to get caught up in this game. You can acknowledge the behavior without letting it disturb your inner calm. The next step is emotional detachment. One of the core teachings of Stoicism is that we must detach ourselves from the opinions and actions of others. If someone is passive-aggressive, it's tempting to take it personally or react with equal hostility. However, Stoic philosophy encourages us to respond with reason, not emotion. Epictetus reminds us, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. When confronted with passive aggression, you can choose to stay calm, respond with grace, or simply walk away from the situation. Lastly, Stoicism teaches the importance of compassion. This might seem counterintuitive, especially when dealing with someone who is being passive-aggressive. But Stoicism is not about getting even or proving someone wrong. It's about maintaining your own peace and understanding that everyone has their struggles. Marcus Aurelius advised, whenever you are about to find fault with someone, ask yourself the following question: what fault of mine most nearly resembles the one I am about to criticize? In other words, before reacting to passive aggression, take a moment to reflect on your own shortcomings. This doesn't mean you accept the behavior, but it does mean you approach it with a level of understanding. One of the most painful signs that someone secretly dislikes you is exclusion from social gatherings or frequent unfair criticism. These behaviors are subtle but powerful indicators that a person may harbor negative feelings yet choose not to express them openly. In such situations, Stoicism offers profound wisdom. Instead of letting these actions hurt you, Stoic philosophy encourages you to embrace a calm and rational mindset, allowing you to navigate these challenges without losing your inner peace. Exclusion from social events can feel isolating. When someone consistently leaves you out, whether it's lunch with colleagues, a group hangout, or a special celebration, it sends a message of disinterest or disregard. According to Stoicism, the first thing to remember is that exclusion is outside of your control. The decision to invite or not invite you lies with others, and as Epictetus teaches, we should not waste our energy trying to change things beyond our influence. Some things are up to us, and some things are not up to us, he writes. Their choices are not within your power, but how you react to them is. A key Stoic practice is to reframe how we interpret exclusion. Instead of viewing it as a personal attack, it helps to see it as an opportunity to practice resilience and independence. Marcus Aurelius advises in Meditations, choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed, and you haven't been. By shifting your perspective, you free yourself from the emotional pain of being left out. Recognize that you are not defined by whether someone includes you in their plans. Your worth comes from within, not from external validation. Furthermore, exclusion often reflects more about the excluder than the excluded. In many cases, people exclude others due to their own insecurities, biases, or discomfort. Seneca emphasized the importance of understanding human behavior without taking it personally. If someone consistently leaves you out, consider that their actions may be driven by their own internal struggles, jealousy, fear, or even a need for control. Stoicism teaches us to approach such situations with compassion rather than bitterness. By recognizing their limitations, you free yourself from the desire to retaliate or hold a grudge. Criticism, especially when it's frequent or harsh, is another sign of hidden dislike. Sometimes, criticism can be constructive, but when someone is consistently finding fault in everything you do, it may be a subtle way of expressing their negative feelings toward you. Stoic philosophy encourages us to view criticism with a discerning mind. Epictetus reminds us that not all criticism is valid. If someone criticizes you and the criticism is valid, respond with humility. If it's unjust, simply smile. The Stoic approach is to evaluate whether the criticism is worth your time and energy. If it is unfair, do not let it disturb your peace. In fact, Seneca teaches that even unfair criticism can be an opportunity for growth. Rather than becoming defensive or angry, Stoics encourage us to stay calm and use the moment to reflect on our own behavior. Is there a kernel of truth in what is being said, even if the tone or intention is hostile? If so, embrace the lesson and improve. If not, remain indifferent to the attack. Seneca wrote, "We should conduct ourselves not merely as if we were facing hostile people, but as if we were among indifferent ones. By doing so, you rise above their hostility and maintain your integrity. When criticism is unwarranted and feels more like an attack than an effort to help, Marcus Aurelius advises us to remember that people act according to their nature. If someone is constantly criticizing you without cause, it reflects their own character flaws. They may be projecting their insecurities or frustrations onto you. The Stoic way is to accept that their behavior is beyond your control and focus on preserving your own inner tranquility. You cannot change their nature, but you can choose how you respond. As Marcus Aurelius said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. One of the most liberating Stoic practices is the concept of letting go. When faced with exclusion or harsh criticism, it's easy to get caught up in a cycle of rumination, wondering why this person dislikes you or how you can change their opinion. But Stoicism teaches us that others' opinions are not our responsibility. The only person's judgment that matters is your own. Epictetus emphasized that our thoughts and actions should align with virtue, not the approval of others. As long as you are acting with honesty, integrity, and kindness, the disapproval of others should not disturb you. One of the most painful yet subtle signs that someone secretly dislikes you is indifference. This behavior can be harder to notice than criticism or exclusion because it often involves a complete lack of reaction rather than an overt negative response. A person who is indifferent may not express overt dislike, but their behavior reveals an absence of care or concern. According to Stoic philosophy, indifference from others presents an opportunity for deep personal growth, as it encourages us to focus inward rather than seeking validation from external sources. Indifference can manifest in different ways. For instance, a person may rarely ask about your life, show little interest in your achievements, or fail to acknowledge your presence in social settings. When someone is indifferent, you may feel invisible or unimportant, which can be hurtful. However, Epictetus teaches us that the behavior of others should not define our self-worth. As he famously said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." The Stoic response to indifference is to cultivate emotional detachment, understanding that another person's lack of interest is outside of our control. When someone doesn't ask about your life or show interest in your well-being, it can feel as though they don't value you. However, Marcus Aurelius encourages us to remember that people act according to their own nature and circumstances. You have power over your mind, not outside events, he wrote. If someone fails to engage with you, it may not be about you at all. It could be due to their own distractions, personal struggles, or limitations. Marcus Aurelius advises us not to internalize their indifference as a reflection of our worth, but instead to focus on maintaining our own integrity and peace of mind. Another common sign of hidden dislike is when someone never takes the initiative to contact you or make plans. If you're always the one reaching out, suggesting meetings, or maintaining the relationship, it may indicate that the other person doesn't prioritize you. Stoicism teaches us to recognize when we're putting in more effort than we're receiving. Seneca would remind us that relationships should be based on mutual respect and reciprocity. When you find yourself constantly initiating contact without receiving the same effort in return, it's essential to reassess the relationship from a Stoic perspective. From a Stoic viewpoint, relationships must be approached with a sense of balance. You should not cling to relationships that do not serve your growth or contribute to your well-being. Epictetus advises that we release our attachment to things beyond our control, including the behavior of others. If someone never reaches out, the Stoic response is to let go gracefully. Instead of investing emotional energy into a relationship that isn't reciprocated, focus on relationships that are mutually supportive and based on genuine connection. As Epictetus puts it, freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. A powerful tool that Stoicism offers when dealing with indifference or a lack of initiative is self-sufficiency. Marcus Aurelius taught that we must cultivate an inner life so rich and stable that it remains unaffected by the behavior or opinions of others. Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one, he wrote. If someone is indifferent toward you, this is an opportunity to turn inward and strengthen your own character, rather than seeking approval from external sources. Seneca also encourages us to be content with ourselves, writing, "He who is brave is free." In other words, bravery lies in embracing your own value without needing others to affirm it. When faced with indifference or lack of initiative from others, it's crucial to practice gratitude for the supportive relationships you do have. Stoicism emphasizes focusing on what we have rather than what we lack. If one person in your life shows little interest, remind yourself of the people who do care for you and engage with you sincerely. Gratitude is a cornerstone of Stoic practice, helping us to shift our focus away from negative experiences and toward the positive aspects of our lives. Seneca teaches that gratitude fortifies us against disappointment. Nothing is more honorable than a grateful heart. Another essential Stoic practice when dealing with indifference is the cultivation of inner tranquility through meditation and reflection. Marcus Aurelius often turned to introspection to maintain his calm amidst difficult social dynamics. He wrote, "The tranquility that comes when you stop caring what they say, or think, or do. Only what you do." This mindset helps you rise above the indifference of others, maintaining your emotional balance and focusing on your personal growth rather than external validation. Remember that Stoic philosophy teaches us to focus on what is within our control, our thoughts, actions, and emotions. When faced with signs that someone dislikes you, whether it's through subtle body language, passive-aggressive remarks, exclusion, or indifference, Stoicism offers a path to inner peace and resilience. By practicing emotional detachment, self-reliance, and gratitude, we can rise above the opinions and behaviors of others. In the end, true strength lies in how we respond, not in how we are treated. Stay grounded, remain calm, and continue to live in alignment with your values.